Hi, kings and queens, and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Come on into the conversation, and thanks for being here. We've got a great guest I want you to talk to or meet today, and you're going to have the opportunity to ask questions or post your questions in the chat. I want to let you know that I am broadcasting, multicasting on several platforms. And welcome to the conversation. I'm Steffanie Rivers, and this is my video journal. You can watch this on Twitter and Facebook Live and YouTube. And thanks to my subscribers as well. So welcome to the conversation. Although times keep slipping into the future and everybody is getting older, it seems that every other day there is something that is happening that lets us know that wisdom doesn't always come with age. And because we are on a long, it seems as if there's a never-ending road that lets us know that racial equality is something that we have to keep fighting for every day. During the early years of the civil rights movement, messengers of racial equality gave their lives, or their lives were taken. People like Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., countless others were murdered because of their commitment to the cause. And the recently racially motivated murders of 10 people in Buffalo, New York, proves that racism is being passed down like a family heirloom from one generation to the next. And people are not born racist, they are taught to be racist. And so today, it used to be that their go-to thing to stop progress in America was to just kill a person, to assassinate somebody. But now they have different methods for which they come at you. And so even if they don't kill you, they try to make your life a living hell. So my guest today is going to talk to us about what he's been going through. So after the show opener, I'll introduce you to my guest, Mr. Bobby Worthy, right after this. Hi, I'm Steffanie Rivers, and I want justice for Breonna Taylor because the police officers involved showed reckless disregard for her life and the lives of her neighbors. Her. So you're saying she essentially died on the floor right there?
Second that she got shot, she was.
Family, did the city of Birmingham, did anybody say, did the church, did anybody say there's more to
Hi, welcome to the conversation. I'm Steffanie Rivers, and this is my journal. You're watching me on several platforms, and today I want to introduce you to my guest. His name is Bobby Worthy. He says he has fought on the front lines of the civil rights movement for decades. He's a former member of the New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense and is a longtime resident of Georgia. And a lot of people think of Georgia as the Deep South, but Worthy knows even that the criminal justice system can be used to intimidate and punish innocent people. So he's here to tell his story today. Welcome to the conversation, Brother Bobby. How are you?
Like power, how's it going, sister?
All is well. Thanks for joining me. Now, let's just talk a little bit before we get into your story. A lot of people, when we say Georgia, they automatically think of Atlanta, and that, there's a predominantly black population. And so they really don't consider Atlanta as being, that racist or racist at all because of the population. But you live in another part of Georgia in Coffee County. That's correct?
Not Coffee County, where Coffee County is where we filed the grand jury petition. I actually live in Ware County, Pierce County, Blackshear, Georgia, Waycross, Georgia.
Okay. So so what is the population of your county? Or since we're talking about Coffee County, that's where you filed the petition. I did look up some information on the population of Coffee County, and the population of Coffee County is less than 48,000 people live in the whole county, not just the little suburb, but the whole county. There's 54% white people in Coffee County, 28% black, 11% Hispanic, and 55% of those people in Coffee County are male. So it's safe to say it's a predominantly white male county. So is that, talk to us about, did you grow up in rural Georgia? What brought you to rural Georgia, or the area where you live?
Well, growing up, I grew up in a little town when I was very young, a little town called Ludowici, Georgia. They used to call it the speed capital of the world. It's a small town. When I was going to elementary school, they used to burn crosses off of the Highway 84, the Ku Klux Klan. And I remember growing up in elementary school, and my brothers and all and sisters was in high school, and I was in elementary. They had a race ride there, which also they had the National Guard escort all of us in back and forth to class. So, but I left when I was in junior high. My family moved to North Carolina. It was where Eden, North Carolina, is where I grew up. My young adult life is spent there, military after high school and college, and so forth. And now I'm back home.
Okay, so what's the race relations? What is that like in the area where you reside now?
Well, Ware County, which is Waycross, Georgia, they call it the Way of the Cross, is actually the largest county in the state of Georgia, land-wise. And people don't know that, but it is the largest county land-wise in the state of Georgia. Even Atlanta, Fulton, and all those counties, it still is the single most largest county in the state of Georgia.
So tell us, about. So yes, a lot of land, but what is the atmosphere? Wherever you are, it seems like you're the type of person, Bobby, that doesn't try to find serenity. You fight for the rights for yourself and the citizens wherever you are. Is that how you are? I mean, most people would say, and certainly I'm probably one of those people, that if things are too antagonistic wherever I am, I'm okay with moving, going somewhere else, because at some point my quality of life and my peace of mind means more to me than trying to always fight and have a fight with somebody over something, even if it's a justified fight. So you seem to be the type of person to not necessarily go after serenity, but you go after the fight.
Yeah, wherever the fight is, I'm on the battlefield. So for years I was the assistant to the legal redress chair for the Georgia State in conference NAACP. And over the years, I'll say back in 1998, over the years, I found out that the NAACP had too many rules and regulations. So that they had to go through. And that's understandable because anytime you're a nonprofit organization, you got to bow down to those who gave you the nonprofit status, quote. But anyway, so I started an organization called the Justice League United, who I am the National Judge Advocate General. I am the founder and CEO. I run things my way, and there's only one thing that my members have to do, and that's to attack injustice. Any way you feel you attack injustice, I don't care about rules and regulations. And if you feel you need to lay hands on somebody, then by all means, do it, and I will back you. So, and with that said, with my organization is just and to fight injustice. And I don't go to North Carolina, been to Texas, you name it, I just about done been there. Alabama, wherever injustice goes, then I'll go. And then I came into the new Black Panther Party under Hashin Nzinga, rest in peace, our former chairman of the new Black Panther Party, for self-defense. And don't get me wrong, but he died of colon cancer, passed away. And now I was the judge advocate. I was the national MOJ, Minister of Justice, under his reign. And then when Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz with the Black Lawyers of Justice, who's currently chairman now for the new Black Panther Party, I was his special assistant. Who recently, and a couple of weeks ago, I resigned, not for ill-gotten reasons or anything. I resigned because of I have to concentrate on my personal life, and it's time for me to start living for me in my personal life and business. And I'm still helping things, in the movement, what I can and what I can do. So it's just, I've been doing this for 3 decades. So it's time to me to back off and concentrate on me.
So then that leads me to, there was a person in Coffee County. His name is Roscoe Allen. Roscoe Allen, is that his name?
Roscoe Allen.
Allen. And so what happened with him is that Roscoe went to jail because apparently there was an altercation between Roscoe Allen and a politician in Coffee County, and that politician claimed that Roscoe threatened his life, and then there was a restraining order or a protective order put out against Roscoe Allen. And then apparently, and you said, and it's not a question of did it happen or not. Roscoe Allen violated the protective order by showing up at a political event where this politician was. And so because of that violation, there was a judge that jailed Roscoe Allen and told it jail will put him in jail, because the protective order was for a year, so 12 months. So after the 12 months, Roscoe Allen was still in jail, and there were no more charges against Allen. So you are saying, and the people of Coffee County in the area felt like, one, Roscoe Allen should be released because he served his time. And since there were no other charges against him, there's no reason for you to keep him in jail. He never saw the judge that sentenced him. There was never another sentence against him. So therefore, he should be released. Is that, so far, am I on track?
Correct.
Okay, so then when he wasn't released, there were some protests that took place, and nothing really happened. And so there are a lot of ways to bring attention to injustices that are happening to people. And some people march, some people protest. Others prefer to take it to the next level. let's say. I did a recent interview with Minister Mikhail Muhammad. He's a national spokesperson for the National Black Panther Party, and he says, and we had video that talked about how they put bounties on people who they felt like should have been arrested and charged with things like George Zimmerman. It took a few months to charge George Zimmerman with the murder of Trayvon Martin. And the McMichaels in Brunswick, Georgia, it took weeks to a month before local officials arrested them. And so in order to get that done, some people believe you can't just protest and march because nobody's paying attention to that. So where do you stand with your strategy and methods on getting things done? Do you believe that protesting and marching can make it happen, or there needs to be a next level of that happens?
Okay, well, I'm gonna answer all your stuff. I'm gonna start back with Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin. I want everybody to know it was not any other organization that forced the hands of to arrest George Zimmerman. What it was the reward that was issued by the New Black Panther Party for George Zimmerman's arrest, dead or alive. That reward, that is what forced them to actually arrest George Zimmerman. And what they did is, listen, let's just arrest him. Because if everybody understand, if you looked at the trial of George Zimmerman trial, George Zimmerman never showed any remorse anywhere. The prosecution was weak, as you know what, I'm beat, you know what I mean. But anyway, they was weak. So what they did is they gave a pretend trial, what we call in school, law school, a mock trial, in some high schools, mock trials. It was a pretend trial that they can say, hey, we gave them due process. Okay, we found him not guilty. Bam, it's over with. And as you see, it's over with. George Zimmerman sold a weapon, if I believe, for $250,000 that he shot Trayvon and killed Trayvon Martin with. And back to the process that I'm talking about is the citizens' right to petition the grand jury. Most of the grand jury members don't know the power of the grand jury. And with this, my co-defendant is a former judge who contacted me and showed me things in the law that I did never, until you showed me case law to back it up. Thus, in the Marta Aubrey case, the Marta Aubrey case gained national attention, not from, and don't get me wrong, I agree with protesting, because protesting is what got us so far. It brings awareness. It brings it brings attention. So with that said, when we marching and protesting, when Malcolm and Martin was talking about marching and protesting, they didn't say forever. So with that said, there's got to be something beyond that. And I have taken it that level. Since I've been doing this, I done had police officers fired and arrested and prosecuted. And one judge moved off the bench, and I'm working on some more. Now, in the Marta Aubrey case, the arrest in the Marta Aubrey case, and you can ask any of the family members, the Marta Aubrey case did not break national news until I broke it to the news media. Nobody else. I'm the one that broke it to the news media. That gained national attention. And then that's when everybody came running in with the bullhorns and the I Have a Dream speeches and all that. And while they was doing that with the I Have a Dream speeches, I was filing the petition to the grand jury, me and my co-defendant, against Jackie Johnson and George Barnhill. By the way, George Barnhill, your time is coming. So, but anyway, Jackie John, and you can, and I should have sent you the email, the video on this, where I addressed the grand jury. Well, me and my co-defendant addressed the foreman of the grand jury and the assistant foreman of the Glenn County grand jury, which got Jackie Johnson indicted. The petition that we filed is what got her indicted by the grand jury.
Okay,
Second of all,
Well, okay, so let's make sure. Um, Jackie Johnson was the DA that chose not to arrest and or indict the McMichaels for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. And when all of that came out, and they in the national news showed that they were still not that they were still released, or that they hadn't been arrested, then that's when Jackie Johnson was fired or got
Well, what happened was, before they arrested Ahmaud Michaels, it was the Liberty County District Attorney signed to him, and I forget his name, but it was signed to him, and I sent him a letter telling they had 10 days, and this is when Grandmaster Jay, before they indicted him, the Black Militia and all these other Black organizations were coming together, and I sent the district attorney a letter, letting him know that he had 10 days to make the arrest, or we was going to make it for him. Then the following week, the McMichaels was arrested. I can't say it was me, but I mean, it's kind of, open and shut that, hey, they weren't going to arrest him, and then they did. So then when Jackie Johnson came into play, Miss Johnson met the Gregory Gregory McMichael, the father of Travis, who actually when they shot Ahmaud, was her assistant when he was working for her office. He was an investigator for her office. So she chose to make that decision to the police department to let them go. That's what she did. And then George Barnhill was assigned to it later. George Barnhill's son, George Jr., I think he's a junior, but his name George Barnhill too, works for Jackie Johnson. Now, they assigned it to him. I sent George Barnhill a letter stating that he said he made no such, when I told him about the decision he made, that he said that the McMichaels was perfectly legal. They had a right to make the citizen arrest. They had a right to kill Ahmaud Arbery. That's what they said. And he wrote a letter on that, George Barnhill. So when I wrote him an email, sent him an email, he sent me, and I'll send you all this so you have it. And he sent me an email back saying that he never made such statement or anything. But you clearly send this to the local sheriff's department and all that. This letter that's going to eventually get you indicted for what you did. So, and with that said, that we went to Coffee County and see, I can go anywhere in Georgia and file a petition to the grand jury. So, you got any questions before I move on from now?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, or just so we can follow the story. So when your protests, the actual protesting and to get Roscoe Allen released didn't work, what did you do to bring more attention to the matter? You petitioned the grand jury to indict the judge in Allen's case for false imprisonment for keeping Allen locked up for beyond the 12 months, and 2, malicious prosecution because Allen's time had been served. So, and for you also, the petition was a violation. I mean, also said it was a violation of his
Oath of office.
Okay, of his oath of office. And so let's just be clear, in Georgia and in many states, there are 3 ways to file charges against a person. And so we're getting closer to what you're saying. Most people know that if you that there's an officer of the law, that officer can press charges against you. And the second way is the district attorney can recommend that charges be filed against you, and then they serve a warrant and they issue a warrant, and then law enforcement comes to serve the warrant. If it's a felony offense, the grand jury will decide if there's enough evidence for an indictment. So most people don't know about the third way that you can get an indictment against someone, or at least if that person is a public official, or an individual. You as an individual person in that state, and it might be other states other than Georgia. So be sure to check to see if your state has this rule. You can file a petition that goes straight to the grand jury to get a person indicted. And that's what you did. And you have a co-defendant. So let's start from there. You filed a petition straight to the grand jury to indict the judge for not doing right by Roscoe Allen, correct?
Yes. All right. Well, what had happened was Roscoe had a temporary PTO, temporary protected order. Some call it restraining order. In some states, some cities, different. But anyway, he had a 12 months protected order against him from the local city mayor. And need to mention his name, but anyway, Ross, sometime in between that, Roscoe showed up in a political event that the mayor had, stopped in the road and yelled something. Somebody videotaped him. The mayor videotaped him, and the very that day, Roscoe was arrested. In the process of Roscoe, after he was arrested, they held Roscoe, the protected order, for 12 months. They held Roscoe in violation of the protected order. But what they did is they never charged Roscoe with another crime. They never took Roscoe to court to continue his incarceration. They did take him to court on the violation of the order, and they didn't make a decision. They said wasn't going to let him out, but they never continued the order. In the process of Roscoe being in jail for so long, the order expired, and the order was 12 months. So we wrote the judge several letters asking why Roscoe wasn't released, because the temporary restraining order has expired. We went to the local jail. Of course, these jailers at the jails, the chief jailer and all them actually don't know the law. I don't know what law school they went to, because they sure didn't read the same book that I read. But anyway, and that's what's wrong with a lot of law enforcement. They take these little classes, and it does not make you an attorney. It does not matter of fact, it also makes you in violation of the law, because you informing people of their rights. You're telling people, writing codes and laws, and that is a form of unlawful practice of law. But anyway, so the judge, they wouldn't release him. The jailers and all that. Well, that's not the way it worked. It is. Once a judge signs an order, and that order reaches its limitation, then that order and his authority over that person has ended. And if he don't continue it, or either take him to court and give him another charge, then the judge is in violation. In this one, and I can't really say the name because of my bond restrictions, but it's in the paperwork. But you can post it. But, because of my bond restrictions are so strict, it clearly says in the bond, I can't harass judge staff, prosecutor staff, law enforcement, police officers, and stuff like that. Really? This is the Jim Crow justice in Georgia. Now, the same district attorney, George Barnhill, is behind this. So once we filed the petition with the grand jury, now get this. What makes it so illegal is, first of all, when you have a right to petition the grand jury has never heard our petition. Instead, they had the grand jury reverse the charges on me and my co-defendant and charged us for filing false documents, which is a felony in the state of Georgia, false documents against the judge. But what they realize is, what they're trying to do is hush me, Because they say if we stop Bobby Worthy at this point, nobody else will try this. So once we filed this petition with the grand jury, they had the grand jury indict us on filing false documents with a judge, and then charged us with a bench warrant. Get this, a bench warrant for failure to appear. My understanding is how is it failure to appear when we were never notified to appear? And then listen, and that's not unusual. They do this not just in Georgia, but every state. But no one has challenged it. But they got the right one now. You know what I'm saying? That's to me, that's a crime. Oh, it is coming. And so in order for any grand jury, people gotta listen to this. In order for the grand jury to indict you on any charges, I don't care if it's federal or state, they must meet the requirements, and they must have at least one witness, not a witness that works for the state, but a witness to agree with what they said or can testify to the truth of their what they call it, a special presentment. That's what they use. They use a special presentment to the grand jury to indict us for falsifying documents.
Okay, so let's go back. So you do have a co-defendant. His name is Paul. What's Paul's last name? Nally?
Yeah, former Judge Paul Nally.
And so, right, he's a former judge, and he's a former mayor, and he's a white guy. And so we'll talk more about that. But so as far as the grand jury is concerned, so periodically people will, like each county periodically, whether it's once a month or every few months, they sequester a grand jury, and that grand jury is brought to hear petitions that are filed against people. And so the grand jury rules on whether the case has enough evidence to move forward, or whether there is no evidence, and the case is dismissed if it's not enough. So, and there also, like you said, must be at least one witness that testifies in any given case. So when you and your co-defendant Paul Nally, when you guys put your petition the grand jury, you didn't have to be there in order for them to hear your petition. And while you were absent, while you did not know what was going on, instead of the grand jury listening or looking at what it was that you wanted them to look at, which was your right as a citizen, the DA and everybody who was connected in that area flipped the script, and then had charges filed, or had the grand jury to indict you on some charges. And also with that, and then they said, and by the way, they're not here, we're indicting them, they didn't show up to court, but nobody told you had to show up to court. No,
let me back you up before you go too far. All right. Okay. It wasn't that part to go back to court. What it was is that the grand jury never saw our petitions. All right. They never saw our petitions. If they would have saw our petitions, then they would have called us in to testify to those petitions, or to present evidence to that petition that we filed. So what they did, instead of showing the grand jury our petition, they put in a special presentment telling them what we did. It was like you have a copy of it. It's like a 3-line page telling them what we did. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And then by us not being notified to come to court to even fight or have a defense against what they were saying, then they issued a bench warrant for our arrest for failure to appear.
And so, this speaks to people on the grand jury or on a jury, period, not realizing the power that they have to question what is being presented. Because, you know, when I look back at the Breonna Taylor case with the cops who were up for charges against, you know, shooting, wanton endangerment, and murdering her, and attempted, you know, the grand jury, after all the protesting and everything that we did across the country to bring attention to that, then for a grand jury to get behind closed doors and for the attorney general to come out and say, well, the grand jury decided they could only be charged, they only wanted them to be charged with wanton endangerment. I'm like, what the heck do you think we were just protesting so they could be charged with shooting into a wall? Like, well, so obviously the grand jury is, you know, people need to ask more questions. They need to research. They need to know, what is my charge in being a part of a jury? And a lot of people don't do that.
And see, the thing about the grand jury is people don't understand the power when they're on the grand jury. So this is to all grand jury people, grand jury foremen, assistant foremen. You have the alternate power. Your power, when you in session, your power supersedes that of the judge, the prosecutor, any law enforcement officer, any of them. You have the right to indict and prosecute anybody you want to. You can tell the judge, excuse my language, to go to you know where. That is the power of the grand jury. But most grand juries are presented stuff by the prosecutors, like the prosecutors is their boss. That's how they go across it. But to all people that future grand jury members, see, they're never putting somebody like me on the grand jury, because see, I know my power. Because there'd be a whole lot of judges and prosecutors in jail and in handcuffs. That is the power of the grand jury. There is no power greater than the power of the grand jury when they're in session, except their constitution. They don't go by that neither, so we don't, you know.
So they essentially charged you, the grand jury charged you both, you and your co-defendant, with filing a false a report against a judge, and
false document,
filing false documents. So instead, they used the petition that you filed against you, and they didn't notify you. And so, what I think about when I hear things like this is, when you hear about law enforcement officers and how they lie on police reports, and when they shoot people, and then later on video comes out showing that those people, you know, were killed unjustifiably. You don't see cops being charged with filing false reports. And so I'm just wondering, and I mean, it speaks to what you're saying. If law enforcement wants to, they can find any charge they want and make it and try to, you know, charge you with things. When they don't want you to be charged, they don't charge you. And so I guess now it goes to, do you have an attorney? Do you and your defendant your co-defendant have an attorney? And let's go back to, you know, how did you and this former judge, former mayor, white guy, become partners in a petition of the grand jury? How did that happen?
Well, it was through a young lady named Montera Robinson. Her son was shot by drug task force, U.S. Marshal Task Force in Atlanta, and she just not in the last few months or so had an indictment against some of the officers that killed her son. They shot him 64 times. They shot the wrong person, meaning at the wrong time. Now, this is the U.S. Marshal Task Force. This is my language. This is the kind of shit we got to deal with. Because see, ultimately, if they kill you or kill one of your family members, can we really get justice?
No.
Really? Okay, justice monetary? Okay, I'll get a bunch of money and that's fine. No, justice to me would be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. but casket rolling in your neighborhood just like they're rolling in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Because getting money is not justice. Justice would be death.
Correct.
But it goes back to the police, like you said. The police can basically, but they basically can charge you whatever they want. But I want to say this before I forget, because I just thought about it. And the police officers, in the state of Georgia, as a citizen, you can take a warrant out on a police officer. It's called a warrant application through your local magistrate judges, and most states are the same people. People just don't know how to go do it. Police officers, you can take warrants out on them. Most people don't read and don't understand that. But we have taken it to another level. Not just take once, because when you take once out, the magistrate judge going to say, oh, yeah, case dismissed. They're going to side with them. They're buddies. They're friends. They all eat dinners. But it's making them mad is the point. But with the grand jury, it's a whole different ball game. Now we don't have to wait on prosecutors when they murder one of us. Now we don't have to wait on judges and investigators and all that. We can take it straight to the grand jury and straight down their damn throats.
Well, that's what you're doing, and look what happened. How do you feel about that? That when you take it up a notch, then they flip the script, and now you're facing charges and possible prison time. Do you feel like you're getting the help that you were trying to give to other people?
Well, yes. I found it's an honor, because listen, if you Google my name, you'll see a Bobby Worthy arrested. I've been arrested for posting on Facebook. Really. Officers, I got 2 pending charges against police officers because I posted the truth on Facebook and they arrested me. Those charges are still pending. Misdemeanors. Really? You scared of me and you the police? Really? Because of what I say on Facebook. And not just that, but they've always trying to get me or silence me. Like the prosecutor, he didn't know I was on the phone. He was talking to somebody else. He gonna talk about a George Bond here, same one in my Maud Arbery case, gonna be talking about, oh, that Bobby Worthy, I'm gonna have him arrested. So guess what I did? The very same day I went to his office. He was hiding in the corner like a coward. I said, here I am, arrest me. What you gonna arrest me for, coward? But I ain't scared of none of them, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they talked about Jesus, so hey, they can keep talking about me, but I ain't gonna bow down to none of them. I will die in my grave fighting for what I believe in, and if possible, whatever God y'all believe in, because it definitely ain't the same God I believe in, that if it's possible, I'll come back from the depths of hell and kill your whole bloodline.
So let's move towards your defense. Do you have an attorney? What's that been like, trying to get someone to defend your case? Is there a court date?
No court dates yet. The judge has given us time to find an attorney. We've been talking to an attorney. I'm going to mention his name until we get him secured. But we have been talking to an attorney that's in the movement and pretty spiffy with a lot of stuff. So we just got to raise the money to get the attorney secured. It's going to be $10,000 because of course, he coming from out of town. And I tell people this here: if you really want an attorney to fight for you, never get an attorney that's in the same judicial circuit that you're fighting. They're friends, they're buddies. They're not going to put together the effort. You might have to pay a little bit more money to get an attorney from out of town, but you better get an attorney that has no allegiance to that judicial circuit, meaning he ain't buddies with the judge, the next attorney over there, his friend, and they go to dinner together. You will never get justice like that.
I never thought of that, but you're right once you look at it, because they probably went to law school together, or they see each other at the courthouse and they eat lunch together and all of that, play golf together. And so, right, how are they then going to do right by you and right by their friend? You gonna lose out, even though you paid them, a whole bunch of money. So, speaking of money, you said
that's why there's so.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's why they're always making deals. The law says you're not supposed to make deals with criminals. I mean, that's what the law said. What I read now, I don't, what I'm saying. So that's why they're always making deals. Oh, they'll think this is your best option. After I done paid you $50,000, you think this is my best option? Okay.
So if we want to help, or is there some type of fundraising that you're doing, you and your co-defendant are doing to raise money, or if someone wants to reach out to you and find out more information on how they could possibly help your defense, how would they do that?
They can call my phone number at 912-424-0752 or inbox me on Facebook, Bobby Worthy. There's several ways you can donate. We got credit card machines, the different stuff. We just didn't do the GoFundMe thing right now. That's up in the air right now, but we definitely taking donations. And if you want to do it, if you want to donate, you can just hit my Facebook up, Bobby Worthy, or call me or text my phone number, 912-424-0752.
All righty, and I just put in the chat your Cash App and Zelle information. So that would be $ justice for you. And any advice to people, because your story probably would make people say, oh, I can't step too far out there because I don't, I'm okay if it's a group of us and they try to come at me, but coming at me by myself, that could be a problem, and that's all a part of the process and the tactics, malicious tactics that white supremacy uses against us. But any advice to people on how to maneuver through all that?
If you're scared, then this ain't for you. I'm just being real, because in this movement, you got to be ready to go to jail. I go to jail. I stay in jail and Facebook jail. I go to Facebook jail and real jail all the time. But anyway, you got to read, educate yourself. And let me tell y'all something. For all the people that's convicted felons, and you want to get your record cleaned up, you can call me that same number. And I'll show you how, if you meet the requirements, that you can get your firearm rights back, you can get your rights reinstored. Most people, if you finish all your probation, money, paying fines and all that, your voting rights are automatically restored. You just got to go vote. You just got to go sign up. We need to get out and get out and vote. The voting is our voice. But anyway, for those who want to get back at the system, those who convicted felons, don't you know, in all states, in the union states, all the states within the union, there's only 3 states, and I can't remember which, that a convicted felon can be an attorney. So all you that convicted felons, you want to get back at the system that enslaved you, go to school and become a lawyer and stock it to their behind, because you, in this country, most states except 3, you can be an attorney and be a convicted felon.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought that if you were a convicted felon, that keeps you from, that's one of the things. So you're saying all states but 3.
I can't remember the 3, but all states except 3. Georgia's one of them. You can go and be a convicted attorney. You can be a convicted felon and be an attorney, a licensed attorney. Just can't be a judge, but you can be an attorney.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up right fast. Which 3 states won't allow a convicted felon
to be a licensed attorney?
Let me see if I can come up with it right fast. Okay. It's always saying something. Can a felon be an attorney or felons? Let me see what it's gonna say. Probably
all kinds of stuff come up. I didn't know I can say that, but I didn't know I was gonna say that. I was just speaking. I would have sent it to you.
Oh, right. No problem. It's not giving me the states, but that's something like you said. Don't expect for everything to be handed to you. Be willing to read and find out for yourself. So that's homework for y'all. Go and find out which 3 states won't allow you to be an attorney if you're a convicted felon. And like you said, if you care that much about the system and you want to do something about it, maybe that's your charge, to go back and change it despite you being a convicted felon. So is there anything else you want to add? Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
I want to say this. Now, this is what we need to do, people. All right. We can talk unity all day long. The body showing up in physical form with other bodies is not unity. That's gathering. Unity starts within the mind, because wherever the mind is, the body will follow. So if your mindset ain't right, then you're going to follow your body. And this is what we got to change. We got to change the mindset of our youth. Because see, in this country, it has become an honor for us to say to our brothers and sisters, what's up? The N-word, the N-words. You know what I'm saying? I done removed it out of my vocabulary. And not only has it become an honor and respect for them to call their brother and sister the N-words, it has become an honor and respect to our sisters to be called B's and H's. Not only being called B's and H's, but calling themselves that. What? That is a serious mental state of slavery, and we don't even know it. That's the problem. We are in a serious mental state of slavery. And until we change the conditions of our mind, you can change any of your body form. You're going to go right back to repeating history until you change the mindset. And I'm going to tell you what is the main thing in this country. One of the main things that's poisoning our children's mind. And that's the rap music. Rap music of today is nothing like the original rappers back in the 80s and the 70s, when Heavy D and Kumo D, all these artists got together and wrote this song. We're headed for self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. Mm-hmm. No longer are we headed for self-destruction. We have arrived. Little did these brothers know that they were writing our future of today. Rap music of today has poisoned our children's mind. They got little girls on Facebook shaking things they ain't even got yet and listening to this sexual music and calling themselves B's and H's and N's and all this here. This is crazy. This is all the mindset of white supremacy that has put you in a mental state of slavery. And if we don't wake up, we're going to keep repeating history.
I agree. So it's so many things and issues that need to be addressed. And I guess it all starts with bringing a child up as you would have them to be. So we all need to be doing something in our community to work with children. Even if it's homeschooling, which is hard to do based on your family dynamics, but just being in the life of a child and doing right by that child and those children is very important. So that's another thing, and I'm guilty of that, not giving as much time as I know that I should. And so I have reached out to some people to try to be more benevolent in giving to children. So that's something that I think should happen. So if I was looking in the chat, we do have a few people in the chat. If you want to ask Mr. Worthy anything, let me know. Other than that, we are about to in this chat, but you can see this. It is being played on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and I do plan to repost it as I always do. And we've given out his information if you want to donate to his defense. His Cash App is in the chat. It's $Justice for You. And his email address is justiceleagueunited@yahoo.com. So, Brother Bobby Worthy, we thank you for coming. We're going to keep up with your case, and be sure to let me know. And then I'm gonna end on this. I was driving not cross country, but driving on the highway, interstate, from one state to the next, and I got a speeding ticket, and it was in like Virginia, North Carolina, something like that. And so I told a friend of mine who lived in the area, I got a speeding ticket and I need to come back for the speeding ticket because it was such that I couldn't just pay it and not go to court. I had to go back to court. And he said, let me know when you're going to be in court because I'm going to be there with you, because he knew I didn't have anybody in that area that I knew, or no relatives, because I was just passing through. And so he told me, the judge and everybody, they look at you differently when you have people in court with you versus if you just show up by yourself. And so he made it a point to be there with me just to show them that she's got some backup and she's not here by herself. So I want you to feel like you've got backup, even if it's a few dollars that I'm going to put in your Cash App, whether it's I want to show up at your court date, because I want you to feel like you make people feel when you are there on their behalf that somebody is there on your behalf.
Listen, when I go to court with people, I walk in the courtroom, I just go sometime and they here to go. They run up to the judge, Bobby Worthy and him. And
so
but back to back to the traffic ticket. Everybody, you have a right. Listen, a uniform traffic citation says in the state of Georgia, and most of them probably the same. I can't say from your state. I have to see one to read it, but it clearly says that a traffic citation cannot be disposed of until you first waive a trial by jury. Wow, did y'all hear what I said? It says a uniform traffic citation cannot be disposed of until you first waive in writing a trial by jury. That means a trial, you have a right to a jury trial in all traffic tickets. Damn, that's your key to whooping it.
So, but when you sign your name, isn't that what you're doing, is waiving the jury trial? Isn't that what you're doing?
No,
essentially?
you just that's for your appearance. That's to show that you're gonna come up from court. This is why you get it. If you get arrested, if you get stopped for a traffic violation and you go to jail because you didn't, you don't have license, that's why you go to jail. Your driver's license is displayed in lieu of bail. So if you got valid driver's license, that's why they let you go. Unless you get a DUI, that's a different thing. But a regular traffic stop, your driver's license is displayed in lieu of bail automatically. That is why you're not arrested when you get stopped for traffic, and then that you have a right to a jury trial.
Okay, so I'm learning some stuff. I need to do some more reading myself, and I know because I like to read, so I know if I need to read. I know a whole bunch of people need to read. But at any rate, I appreciate your time. And we will certainly keep up with what's going on, and we'll look for some funds in your account from Steffanie.
Like power.
All right. Talk to you later. So thank you for talking to us as well and being here. If you want to know more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thanks. And